clown's laughter echoed through the funhouse, a haunting, maniacal cackle that reverberated off the mirrored walls. I stumbled, my breath coming in ragged gasps, heart pounding against my ribs. The distorted reflections of myself on all sides seemed to mock my terror, twisting and warping into grotesque versions of my own face. I had to get out. I had to find the others. But every turn led to another dead end, another horrifying sight. One moment, I was staring into the eyes of a grinning skeleton. The next, a bloodied hand reached out from the darkness, only to disappear as I screamed and backed away. The funhouse was alive, its walls shifting and changing, a labyrinth designed to trap and terrify. And then, amidst the chaos, I saw them. My friends, or what was left of them. They were scattered throughout the funhouse, their faces twisted in agony and fear, their bodies broken and contorted in ways that defied logic. This wasn't a carnival. It was a nightmare made flesh, and we had walked right into its jaws. But how did we get here? It all started so innocently, on a night that promised fun and laughter. It was a chilly October evening when the Dark Carnival rolled into town. The posters had gone up overnight, plastered on every lamppost and storefront, announcing its arrival with bold, colorful images of performers and attractions. It seemed like just what our small town needed, a bit of excitement to break the monotony. My friends and I decided to check it out. There was Jack, always the adventurous one. Sarah, with her infectious laughter and boundless energy. Mark, the skeptic who never believed in anything supernatural. And me, the reluctant tag-along. We were a close-knit group, bound by years of friendship and shared experiences. The carnival grounds were alive with the sound of laughter, music, and the smell of popcorn and cotton candy. Brightly colored tents dotted the landscape, each one promising a different kind of wonder. We wandered from tent to tent, playing games and trying out the rides. The atmosphere was electric, charged with the thrill of the unknown. It wasn't until we reached the edge of the carnival that we saw it. The funhouse. It loomed over us, a massive, ominous structure painted in garish reds and yellows. A sign above the entrance read the House of Mirrors, but there was something about it that seemed off, as if the building itself was watching us, waiting. "Come on, it'll be fun," Jack said, already making his way toward the entrance. Sarah followed, her laughter ringing out as she ran to catch up with him. Mark shrugged and gave me a look that said, "What could go wrong?" Against my better judgment, I followed them inside. The first thing that struck me was the silence. The cheerful noises of the carnival faded away, replaced by an eerie stillness. The air was thick and cold, and the only light came from dim, flickering bulbs that cast long shadows on the walls. We found ourselves in a narrow hallway lined with mirrors, each one reflecting our uneasy faces back at us. "Well, this is creepy," Mark muttered, his voice echoing unnervingly. We pressed on, the hallway twisting and turning, leading us deeper into the funhouse. At first, it was just confusing, the mirrors creating the illusion of infinite passageways. But then, the illusions became more sinister. Shadows flitted across the reflections, figures that disappeared when we turned to look. Strange, distorted faces appeared, grinning maliciously before vanishing. "Did you see that?" Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. "Probably just part of the act," Jack said, though he didn't sound convinced. We reached a room filled with funhouse mirrors, the kind that warp your reflection into bizarre shapes. At first, we laughed at the absurdity of our distorted images, but the laughter quickly died when the reflections began to change independently of our movements. The figures in the mirrors twisted and contorted, their faces melting into grotesque masks of pain and terror. "We need to get out of here," I said, panic rising in my chest. But the funhouse had other plans. The door we had entered through was gone, replaced by another hallway, darker and more menacing. We had no choice but to press on. The further we went, the worse it became. Each room was a new horror, a fresh nightmare. In one, the walls bled, dark, viscous liquid oozing from unseen cracks. In another, the floor was covered in a thick, suffocating fog that hid unseen dangers. We stumbled through a room filled with disembodied whispers, voices that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, their words unintelligible but filled with malice. Mark was the first to crack. He ran ahead, screaming that he had to get out, had to find the exit. We heard his cries grow fainter and fainter until there was nothing but silence. We never saw him again. Sarah was next. We were in a room filled with mannequins, their lifeless eyes staring blankly. As we moved through, their heads turned to follow us, their arms reaching out. Sarah screamed as one grabbed her, pulling her into the darkness. Jack and I tried to save her, but it was as if the funhouse itself was against us, the walls closing in, forcing us to move on. Now it was just Jack and me, and I could see the fear in his eyes. We stumbled into the final room, a vast chamber filled with mirrors that reflected us from every angle. In the center stood a figure, a clown with a twisted, evil grin, its eyes glowing with malevolent delight. "Welcome," it said, its voice a chilling whisper, "to the Dark Carnival." Jack charged at the clown, but it was futile. The clown vanished, reappearing in a different mirror, laughing as Jack swung wildly. I watched in horror as the mirrors closed in around him, trapping him in a cage of glass. He pounded on the mirrors, his screams echoing through the chamber, but there was no escape. And now it was my turn. The clown turned its gaze to me, its smile widening. I backed away, searching for an exit, but there was none. The mirrors surrounded me, reflecting my terror back at me 1,000-fold. "Why?" I whispered, tears streaming down my face. "Why are you doing this?" The clown's laughter filled the room, a sound that would haunt my nightmares for the rest of my life. "Because," it said, its voice echoing in my mind, "this is the Dark Carnival, and you are the main attraction." I closed my eyes, the laughter ringing in my ears, and waited for the end. It was morning when they found me, curled up in a ball in the center of the funhouse. The carnival was gone, vanished as if it had never been there. They said I was the only one left, the others presumed dead or missing. I tried to tell them what had happened, but they didn't believe me. They said it was shock, trauma from some unknown event. But I know the truth. The Dark Carnival is real, and it's still out there, waiting for its next victims. The funhouse is a living nightmare, a place where the boundaries between reality and madness blur, where every reflection hides a new horror. And as I lay awake at night, the clown's laughter still echoes in my mind, a chilling reminder that the Dark Carnival is never far away, always watching, always waiting.